All right, Devil, we're going to make you cry. Let's talk about it. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Movie Emporium's TV review of the anime series Devil May Cry. This is based off the Capcom video game, is produced by Studio Mir. Alright guys, so Dante is here in anime form from Studio Mir, who of course did the Watchmen franchise as well as some other stuff. In essence, this is a adaptation or a kind of a retelling of Dante as an individual who is a demon slayer. He is a half demon, half blood character, and basically what it does is we are introduced to a character named the White Rabbit, who in essence is the villain of the story, and he basically wants to release the demons of hell, I guess you could say, or a portal of hell onto Earth to destroy the human society. Why that is, I'm not going to go into, but you know, of course, Dante has something that the White Rabbit wants, and he has specific reasons he wants Dante. And then we get a group called Darkcom, who in essence are wanting the same thing from, of course, Dante. So we get a character named Mary, who's voiced by Scout Taylor-Compton, and it in essence is a kind of new adaptation or new way of telling the Devil May Cry franchise with the old characters that you know, like Dante and stuff like that, and White Rabbit, who's I think from the graphic novel. It is Studio Mir's doing adaptation of a famous video game series. Think of like Cyberpunk with Edge Runners and so on and so forth, Terminator Zero. So I love Devil May Cry as a franchise. Devil May Cry, I think 3 and 4 are some of my favorite video games all the time. I know 3 is one of my favorite video games. DMC, which I know a lot of people don't like from Team Ninja, was something I do like. I do like that game a lot, but I understand why people don't like it. It's very different from what we see. But this series is attempting to do what the video games did, which is bring in the demons of hell and bring in Dante, who is a wisecracking, you know, gun-toting, sword-wielding demon slayer who has powers that, you know, are eventually revealed and you can use in the video game. But it's a really interesting series. It has Kevin Conroy in one of his last performances, which I don't know how many he's done since his passing in 2022, but he plays the VP vice president in this, and it's really interesting to see what the American government is involved, because there's a lot of dealing with current day issues in this series. But I was really looking forward to it. So I love Devil May Cry. I think it's fantastic. It's a great, you know, hack and slash, you know, beat 'em up type of game. Bayonetta, same universe. But you know, with the way Netflix is run with Castlevania and of course Edge Runners and stuff like that, I had a lot of hope. And Studio Mir does pretty decent work. You know, they worked on a lot of stuff recently as like contracting work. So here it is. The whole full season finally releases. They wouldn't let me release my review till the day this series releases. But if you're wondering if this series is worth your time, I think it is. I think this is a really well put together series. I don't think it hits as hard as like the Castlevania series or even Terminator Zero. But what I think this series does is it has the kind of homaging / feel of Devil May Cry, the quick pace, the hack and slash violence, the over the top silliness, the violence, and you know the demons, and you know the nature of like how crazy this world is, and how it deals with like Dante's past, and how it deals with these new characters, and you know everything that you know from the Devil May Cry series. It does and represents really well in this anime series of 8 episodes, and it is a very well put together series. I think it's well acted. I think the voice work is great. I miss Kevin Conroy, so it's nice to see him in this. It's a series that is faithful while creating something new for the Devil May Cry franchise, and I think is a honestly and truly great success. I think it is something that does expound upon like some of the lore from, of course, Devil May Cry. It uses stuff from the video games that you may or may not know. It introduces characters that you may or may not know. It has some interesting kind of reveals, and I think what the series does, and I think what it accomplishes, is being Devil May Cry. I think that's what it does. I think even if you're not a Devil May Cry fan and you just like good anime with good, over the top silly violence and stuff like that, and you just like good, character arcs and good animation, I think this is a real winner. To be fairly honest, I think it really works. I think they actually got the voice actor who did the voice work for Virgil to do the voice work for Dante in this show, which is really interesting. I think it really is a lot of fun. I think the voice actor for, of course, the White Rabbit is really cool. There's a lot of allusions to, of course, Alice in Wonderland because he's the White Rabbit. And I think where this series goes and what it does, and the fact that Roland from Limp Bizkit is the main theme song, I think you hear POD in this. You hear, of course, Green Day, the American Idiot song in this, which is really prescient. When you watch it, you'll know what I'm talking about. But this really feels like early 2000s anime with a lot of respect, and I think it does it really well. I think the nature of like homaging to stuff maybe like Dread or The Raid. I think homaging just the early 2000s with the chaotic violence, the fact that it doesn't really make a lot of sense, but Devil May Cry was more about action than it was about story. I think the series does a really nice job, and once again, it's super violent. It's very coarse in its language, is very unapologetic. And I think the showrunner, Adi Shankar, and of course, Studio Mir have crafted a really fun, entertaining series. Like I said, if you're a Devil May Cry fan, you'll really get a lot of great things out of this. You'll get a lot of great Easter eggs, and you'll get a lot of great just work with who Dante is, and then expounding upon going past Dante and looking at like Dark-Com and looking at like some of the the new characters like Mary, the kind of the head of the Dark-Com crew and stuff like that, and the fact of what the VP represents, the vice president, and what America represents, and what possible immigration represents, and how that works out. And just, I found the show really wonderful. It's a really fun, really energetic. It does a lot of great things, and I'm hoping that this show does what Edge Runners did with Cyberpunk, where it instills a new kind of interest into the Devil May Cry franchise, because I want a new Devil May Cry game. I want a new entry. We haven't seen one since Devil May Cry 5, and I really think if this does what those other things did too, I think it could be a huge boost. Look at Fallout. It boosted Fallout 76. So I think just if you leave the video games out of it and just watch it as an anime, I think it's really a lot of fun. I think it goes into a lot of great places the anime goes into, and I think it has great fun value for what it's worth. But if you're not a Devil May Cry fan and you like anime, you'll still enjoy it for what it's worth. So overall, Devil May Cry on Netflix, the first season, I think is fantastic. For my final score, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10, to be fairly honest. I don't know how other outlets are going to give it, but I think for, me being a Devil May Cry fan, me and being a little easier on it because there is some weird plotting that goes on. I think it's really great. I think it's a 9 out of 10, and that's how I'm going to roll with Devil May Cry now on Netflix. So there you go. Anyways, with that said, that has been my take on Devil May Cry Season 1. Thank you so much for watching. In the comments below, what do you think of Devil May Cry? Are you looking forward to the show? What's your favorite Devil May Cry game? If you enjoy the series, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, if you like what you see on this channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell. Top fun is coming next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit that like button. And as always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out, guys.